one of my kind of holy cow moments that ended up with me actually starting the whole podcast was humanoid robots.
I think I did pretty well. The apple found its new owner, the trash is gone, and the tableware is right where it belongs.
Elon said last year that if you got a sentient humanoid robot that is able to navigate reality and do tasks at request, there's no meaningful limit to the size of the economy. It was almost like the humanoid robots were missing something, and that missing something was AI.
And we have, several of them here now on the floor. So here's, a quick look at Figure 2 robot.
I mean, who doesn't find them kind of fascinating, scary, all at once, right? Hey everybody, welcome to the AI Outcomes podcast, and I'm excited about this episode, okay? One of my kind of holy cow moments that ended up with me actually starting the whole podcast was humanoid robots. I mean, who doesn't find them kind of fascinating, scary, all at once, right? And for me, humanoid robots they've been around a while. Like robotics has been around a while on assembly lines, manufacturing, automating just tasks. It's been around for years, right? But it was almost like the humanoid robots were missing something. And that missing something was AI. Really powerful AI. And if you think about a humanoid robot, I've got lots of examples today, some great videos. So if you are watching this on YouTube, then happy days. You're gonna be mind blown by these videos. But the absence of AI was clear. Now you see AI integration into the humanoid robots. That's the robot's brain. So you've got these phenomenal engineering teams who are able to design these complex engineering kind of just genius into these robots, and they're able to balance and move around and go upstairs and all these things. And but they were kind of missing the AI, weren't they? And what you've got now, I'll just go on to my first slide. I've got a few slides today. I've got video content for you, but if you can see the slides, I'm showing a slide from ARC's Big Ideas 2025. So creds to ARC Invest. It's run by Kathy Woods. Really great. I follow Kathy and her team, do lots of investment and research around what's coming in terms of innovation. And if you look at now, what have we got here? We've got Boston Dynamics, who have Atlas. You've got Unitree. I think Unitree might be one of the Chinese producers. You've got Figure AI, Tesla with their Optimus bot, Sanctuary AI, Agility with their Digit robot, which I've got a video on. You'll see that working at Amazon's distribution centers. Another player called Aptronic, which I had not heard of till I read this report. Fourier, the GR1, and 1X Technologies with their rather oddly looking black suited Neo, but by far the most frightening humanoid robot that I've seen to date. But you can see this market is now there, isn't it? And there's lots of use cases of these robots now actually working in environments or kind of digital twin environments. And they were always missing the AI, and now they have the generative AI on board. And of course, why wouldn't there be a half marathon which is now going to feature humanoid robots versus humans for the first time? that's in April this 2025 over in China. So I'm going to get some clips of that. I will be returning. I'm going to get some clips to show you of that half marathon humanoid robots versus humans. Phenomenal, isn't it? But let's go to our first video. Let's take a look at figure are now on 02 of their generation of their humanoid robots. Let's take a look at 01, and this illustrates my point of when they've integrated OpenAI to get that kind of speech and reasoning into their humanoid robot. Let's take a look.
Hey, Figure 1, what do you see right now?
I see a red apple on a plate in the center of the table, a drying rack with cups and a plate, and you standing nearby with your hand on the table.
Great, can I have something to eat?
Sure thing.
Great. Can you explain why you did what you just did while you pick up this trash?
On it. So I gave you the apple because it's the only edible item I could provide you with from the table.
Great. So, based on the scene right now, where do you think the dishes in front of you go next?
The dishes on the table, like that plate and cup, are likely to go into the drying rack next.
Great. Can you put them there?
Of course.
All right, so how do you think you did?
I think I did pretty well. The apple found its new owner, the trash is gone, and the tableware is right where it belongs.
I agree. Thanks, Figure 1.
You're welcome. If there's anything else you need help with, just let me know.
So there you go, Figure 1, and now they're on 02. I've got a really great a clip of 02 coming up as well, working in BMW's kind of digital twin factory. Absolutely fascinating. So just the engineering teams that are working on these, just hats off to them. It's absolutely wild what they're achieving. But look, what I wanted to do is just step through why humanoid robots. Like, what's the point? They're cool, they're fun, but what is the point? Well, let's look at the business case, because on this podcast we want to think through, well, what are B2B kind of customers, why are they going to invest in this technology, right? And the business case is really interesting. So if you just look at the labor rates and the shortage of labor that is just increasing all of the time, it's just wild. You just wouldn't expect it to be that way. You think, okay, well, aren't we all suffering from high unemployment rates? So why should there be a shortage? Well, the reality is, there's just a whole bunch of jobs that people don't want to do. Like, if you're working in a factory environment, do you really want to be lifting up a 20 kilogram weight and moving it from one place to another? And just people are just quitting the kind of manufacturing and just labor workforce. They don't want to do those jobs. And you can see some of those staff shortage figures by country there, and you've got Japan at 85%. You've got Germany at 82%, India at 81%. And these are large-scale manufacturing companies, aren't they? And China's up there at 69%, USA 70%, UK 80%. People just don't want to do these jobs. And then you can see the quit rates by industry. Again, those numbers just are not going in the right direction, are they? And of course, then you've got I'm not covering demographics, aging populations. Like China's got an aging population. All that developed nations have. And so over time, you've got this we're just going to get really old people working in factories and distribution centres. No, we're not. They're not going to do it. And then, of course, you've got workplace injuries. You've got, I've got a list there of the most dangerous jobs in the world, and fatal injury rate on jobs per 100,000 workers, most dangerous jobs. And you've got logging workers at 132 deaths per 100,000 workers. You've got flight engineers, pilots, roofers, iron and steel workers, truck drivers. You got these professions where a lot of people are dying, and so wouldn't you just switch those out if you could to a robot, like mining and things like that, I guess. And then in terms of workplace injuries, look at the chart for the direct costs of the top 10 most disabling US workplace injuries in 2022. And these figures are in billions of dollars. And so the number one cost is overexertion involving outside sources. So you've got overexertion, and that's costing $12.6 billion. You've got falls on the same level. So it's exactly the same level. There was no change in the level, and just people falling over and injuring themselves, the cost of that is over $10 billion a year. Then you go down the list. Struck by an object or equipment, falls to a lower level, roadway incidents, all sorts, slip, trip, fall. So you've got all these costs associated with fatalities and people injuring themselves. So I covered kind of employee, people not wanting to do the jobs anymore, but look at some of the turnover rates. So even if you can find the people to work in your factory or your distribution centre, they're looking for another job almost immediately. And we've got US employee turnover statistics. 18.9 million Americans who either exit the labour force or change occupations every single year. 18.9 million. You've got 5.5 million Americans who, the total number of separations as of Q1 2021. Not quite sure what they mean by that, but you've got 33.5 million workers who quit their jobs. So average turnover rate is 20%. And so you've got all those businesses have got all the costs of every year, 16% of their workforce leaving every single year. So they've got all the costs, all the hassle of re-employing them. And then average turnover rates by market sector, retail being the number one at over 30%, just on average. So lots to go at in terms of business case, lots of costs that employers will be looking at and going, hey, how can we fix this? And then the final one, and I've heard about employee theft, being a really, really serious problem, especially in retail. I've heard about that over the years. In the UK, well, across Europe, I think now, we have a company called Sports Direct. And I heard a few years back that it's a retailer. It's kind of like low cost. And anytime you go to a big retail park in the UK, you'll see a Sports Direct. It's just full of clothing and sporting bits and bobs. And I heard a few years ago, the number one cost to Sports Direct as a business is their own employees stealing from them. And the employees aren't happy. And this was all around the time that it came out, these 0 hours contracts. And so the employees probably like thinking, hey, I'm hardly getting paid. I'm not well treated. I'm just making my wage up to a fair wage per hour, right? That's probably how they're justifying it. But yeah, employee thefts are massive. And so employee thefts, there you can see the data point, makes up 30% of business bankruptcies. And small businesses lose 5% of their revenue to employee theft annually. Restaurants and retail sectors report the highest theft incidents. So now a humanoid robot is not going to sue you for falling over. The humanoid robot is not going to steal from you. It's going to work longer hours. I'll show you the market sizing after my next video. It's just going to be a better employee for you without all of these on costs, and it's never going to leave. You're not suddenly going to see 45% of your humanoid robots are going to bug out at various random points during the year. So in terms of workplace, let's take a look. I've got a couple of videos to show you, but I want to show you first Boston Dynamics, their Atlas robot, which if you're not able to watch the video, imagine it's like a large dog. That's the kind of like shape. So it's not a humanoid, it's like a canine humanoid robot. But you know what I mean. Let's take a look at Atlas on a kind of like a mocked up building site.
Forgot my tools again.
Oh, wrong video. It's not in the shape of a dog. It is actually humanoid. I've got so many videos. I'm getting confused. I'll find the dog.
Such a show off.
And there we go, Boston Dynamics. And yeah, if you weren't scared before, you probably are if you feel anything like I do watching that. But that is Boston Dynamics, their Atlas robot, showing its capability to think and reason, but also to go up multiple levels, to jump up, to jump down. How does that thing not fall over? It's absolutely just, the engineering is just astonishing. Now let's take a look at, and I showed a clip of this in my episode 1, which was all my kind of pilot episode, is all about my holy cow moments about how AI, this thing is, it's not even hype, it's real, and it's going to change everything. But take a look at the Figure 02 iteration of their robot, so their Gen 2 robot, working in BMW's digital twin factory. And we heard all about digital twins, didn't we, from Jensen in the last Jensen Huang, CEO of NVIDIA. He's talking about their technology, help Cosmos, wasn't it? Help an Omniverse, helping build digital twins and having those 3D cameras all over your manufacturing or logistics environment. That's how you're training your robots to actually go out into your real world environments. But let's take a look at BMW's digital twin factory and the figure 02 working within it. Again, another astonishing video from Figure there. I mean, like it's basically ready to go, isn't it? How good does the engineering need to now get for these robots to actually be working in the real environment? That's a digital twin, but the real environment. And I guess where some of the risks are is having humanoids working around people. Obviously there's risks there, and that there's got to be a way to manage that that kind of like interaction between employees and humanoids. But it's coming, right? It is obviously going to be coming. So let's take a look at market size. Again, back to ARK Invest, some of their research. I'll put the link below. Go check out ARK Invest if you don't know about them. Really, really great, research. And at the start of their report, they're quoting Elon Musk, who his company Tesla makes Optimus robots. I've got some videos to show you of the Optimus robots. Just phenomenal, utterly phenomenal a product. And Elon said last year that if you've got a sentient humanoid robot that is able to navigate reality and do tasks at request, there's no meaningful limit to the size of the economy. And that's Elon's vision for how humanoids are not only going to kind of like turbocharge industry, but if you take a look at the slide, you've got household robotics too. And that's the use of the humanoid robots in the house was always kind of like, C3PO, R2D2, you know, all that sort of thing from Star Wars, wasn't it? That are we going to have these humanoids actually living with us at home? But apparently, yes, that is what's coming, and especially driven by aging population and people needing help, and adult social care roles being difficult to fill, and you can see it's coming. So how ARK have kind of broken that down is they are kind of giving it this weighted average hourly wage and kind of coming up with market sizing in that way. So they're saying it's a 12.5 trillion opportunity for household robotics. Now, when's that coming? I don't know. But when I show you the costs of manufacture and how that when these humanoids start being made at real scale, how cheap they're going to be is astonishing. I think Elon was talking in that same earnings call about, he's kind of comparing it to a car, because their approach of manufacturing is, well, the car is a robot on wheels, it drives itself around, it thinks for itself, and the humanoid robot using the same kind of actuators. So how the robot actually moves, it uses actuators, it's not hydraulic, like there's not oil in these things. He was sort of talking about, well, maybe it costs us $10,000 to make one of these humanoids when we really get to scale, and we sell it for $20,000. And actually, fair enough. You can see people with the means, the resources, maybe they will buy these for home. But I guess for this purpose of this podcast, I'm really interested in the use cases out there in the work environment. And so you've got ARC forecasting that a $12 trillion plus opportunity there for productivity uplift for in the manufacturing environment. And how they break it down is quite, the figures are pretty straightforward, really. You're just looking at how many hours can a robot work that a human can't, and they're calculating it as they're making the assumption it's double. So the humanoid robot, if it just needs to charge itself for 2 hours a day, maybe it's working 80 hours per week for 50 weeks, which gives you your 4,000 hours. And then your total number of manufacturing employees that you then need in, say, the US manufacturing economy drops from what have we got there, 11.7 million, and it kind of cuts it in half to 5.9 million. And then an annual payroll, well, it's not free of charge to have your humanoid robots. You've got to have that capital purchase, then you've got to run the things. But ARC are saying they think the annual payroll drops from the current $78.5 billion to $390 billion. So there you go. There's the figures. They are obviously some massive assumptions in there. But when you start seeing the videos of the technology, and then you start looking at some of the numbers, you do start getting this sense that this is not kind of like sci-fi. This is very real, and it is coming, isn't it? What are we talking? 10 years, realistically. And so then you get into, well, how much do these things cost to make? And the manufacturing of these robots. I've got a good video to show you from Brett Adcock, who is CEO of Figure. But before we get on to that, I just wanted to cover taking a look at those robots where they're already working at scale. And Amazon already have 750,000 of the Digit humanoid robots and another robot called Sequoia working in their operational environments. So let's take a look at that.
Years, Amazon has undergone a remarkable transformation, deploying an impressive fleet of over 750,000 robots across its global fulfillment centers. These robots work collaboratively with human employees, reshaping the way goods are picked, packed, and shipped. But what does this massive automation mean for the workforce and the future of employment? First, let's consider the numbers. Amazon, the world's second largest private employer, now employs approximately 1.5 million people. While that's still a substantial workforce, it represents a decrease of over 100,000 employees from the 1.6 million workers it had in 2021. The robots, including new models like Sequoia and Digit, have stepped in to handle repetitive tasks, enhancing efficiency, safety, and delivery speed for Amazon's customers. Sequoia, one of Amazon's robotic stars, accelerates inventory management and order processing within fulfillment centers. Its tireless precision ensures that products move seamlessly through the supply chain. Meanwhile, Digit, a bipedal robot developed in collaboration with Agility Robotics, takes on tasks like moving empty tote boxes. These robots don't tire, don't need breaks, and don't call in sick. They're the ultimate workhorses. But what about the human workforce? Amazon emphasizes that deploying robots has led to the creation of new skilled job categories. As automation takes over repetitive tasks, employees can focus on more complex and intellectually stimulating work. Think of it as a shift from manual labor to cognitive problem solving. The company's commitment to innovation extends beyond just robots. It's about integrating advanced technologies with human capabilities. However, concerns linger. Job displacement is inevitable. While Amazon asserts that robots are meant to collaborate with human employees, the reality is that repetitive roles are gradually being phased out. The remaining human staff may not face immediate layoffs, but the writing is on the wall. As robots prove their mettle, the need for new human hires diminishes. Why hire a person when a robot can efficiently handle the same task? Amazon's investment in robotics isn't just about cost savings, it's about staying competitive. Faster delivery times, streamlined operations, and workplace safety, all these benefits stem from the seamless interaction between humans and machines. The company's fulfillment centers hum with activity, orchestrated by this intricate dance of technology and manpower. So, what's next? As Amazon continues to fine-tune its robotic workforce, we'll witness a profound shift in job dynamics. The challenge lies in ensuring that this transformation benefits everyone. Upskilling programs, retraining initiatives, and fostering a culture of adaptability.
Let's pause that video there. And yeah, they're saying that it's going to affect jobs. Of course it is. Of course it is. There's no doubt about that, is there? It's almost like it is like Industrial Revolution, isn't it? You just feel that now. This is when they call it job displacement. You just feel now like large numbers of roles will go to be replaced by the humanoids over the course of the next decade. And again, the governments, when do you hear your politicians talking about what the plan is for that? Because the answer's not, let's just not have AI, let's just not have humanoid robots, is it? We can't just stop technological development. As a society, we need to come up with a plan. Now, the other side of this is it drives down the cost of stuff, and so the transition will be painful. But you're going to get to a world where the cost of producing stuff just drops, to close to zero, which means inflation drops. And which means, theoretically, everything gets cheaper. But you just can't just go from one situation to another without a bloody painful transition, right? So, politicians, let's have a chat about that, shall we? What's the plan? So you've got Amazon already using the robots there. And let's take a look at Tesla's Optimus. This is a good-looking humanoid robot. But let's take a look at Optimus working and kind of navigating around the Tesla factory. They have Tesla's Optimus getting really, really good, isn't it? And whilst we're on the subject of Optimus, let's just show you Optimus's new hand and its ability to catch the tennis ball here. It's a real short little YouTube short that Tesla put out there that you may have seen, but let's take a quick look at that and then we'll talk about manufacturing. So the dexterity of Optimus's new hand is mind-blowing. So what phenomenal technology with AI just now orchestrating all of that. So if I go back to my final slide for me today is a humanoid robot cost. And this is ARK Invest showing the productivity uplift, but also the effect of the cost of the actual humanoids decreasing over time as the volume scales. And so you've got a starting cost there at $228,000 per humanoid today. So very expensive. No company is going to be, ordering these things at scale at that price point, right? But then you see them stepping that cost down, goes to 110k. Then next stage it goes to 63k per robot. Then it goes to 40k per robot, and then it goes to 16k per robot, and then it goes to $1 per robot. Now, when does that happen? Well, that happens when the humanoid robot, is making the humanoid robot. And that's taken into account inflation and all goods, in the future going down to nothing. But their step down to that, as soon as you start getting to $40k, $16k, you start seeing, yes, people are going to buy them for home, and yes, businesses are going to buy them at scale. That seems to be the point where the business case would work. And the manufacturing of those has to scale, obviously. And I think that's Tesla's playbook. That's what they're really good at, isn't it? Is phenomenal technology, but then manufacturing it at scale and making that technology affordable. But final video today, let's hear from Brett Adcock, who's CEO, founder and CEO over at Figure AI, talking about manufacturing.
100 to 200 decisions you have to make to go out and build a robot. Yeah. And, you don't want to have to be in a situation where you have to get all those right. And I think we got most of those right on Figure 1. We did an even better job on some of those decisions on Figure 2. Figure 2 is really about getting to a feature complete robot. It has all the systems on it, whether we're going to build or buy it on the robot that are working. We built most of it. So it's software, whether it's firmware, embedded systems, control software, all the hardware systems on board, the actuators, electronics, wiring, battery systems, cameras, sensors. So we think we got roughly to feature complete, hardware complete on Figure 2. And so we're really excited there. And then, future generation for us will be, how do we get the costs down by well over order of magnitude from where we're at now? And how do we get the ability to manufacture unprecedented scale that we've never seen before in robotics?
I know that, one of the quotes I heard you say is, everyone will own a humanoid and labor will be optional. And those are pretty provocative and I think actually true. For everyone to own a humanoid, and I want to get into this for a quick moment. You said reducing the cost 10x. Elon's been aggressive on a price tag. He's not always been right on price or schedule. But I think, do you think of these humanoid robots as ultimately converging on a price per kilogram of total weight? And what do you think, 10 years out, 20 years out, these things will actually cost?
So I spent all year now looking at how cheap we can make these robots. And the answer really lies in like a bottoms up analysis of the entire bill of materials BOM cost, where we take basically a list of, call it roughly 1,000 parts, and we like start itemizing that down, and then we start understanding at real scale how we're going to procure those parts, whether we build or buy, and what contractual volume estimates we can get with prices there. I feel.
So let's stop that there and watch the whole interview if you want to go deeper on this fascinating interview there. Again, links below. So look, there you go. That's as much as I want to cover on this episode about humanoid robots. So hopefully you've seen that these things are very, very real. The engineering is phenomenal. I've broken down what the business case is. So if you are in sales or consultancy and you have a logistics customer, you have a manufacturing customer, they are going to be looking at these technologies. And when you introduce these technologies, you need to create a digital twin environment. So you're going to need a lot of compute and software to support a move towards automation and eventually humanoid robots. So go talk to your customers about this, and hopefully this podcast has informed you. I've given you the data points around market size, around labour and the challenges to large companies around labour costs, fatalities, injuries, turnover. I've laid it all out for you. I've talked to you about the ageing demographics. That's just going to get worse and worse and worse over the next 5, 10, 20 years. And also illustrated that the price of these things might be expensive at the moment, but is rapidly going to drop. And whenever the likes of Tesla are involved, they're really good at that vertical integration. And like Brett was saying, they're looking at a list of 1,000 parts, making the make-buy decision on those parts to drive the cost out and scale the manufacturing process of the humanoids to drive the cost down. So look, I hope you enjoyed it. Absolutely fascinating, isn't it? I'm getting lots of people returning to the podcast now. Over 2,000 new subscribers a month. A week at the moment on YouTube. So phenomenal. So thank you. So please hit the like. Please subscribe. Drop me a comment. Let me know what you think. And yeah, I just hope this is a really useful resource. So go talk to your customers about this. Find out what they're doing. Get into that conversation with them. And yeah, I hope this has brought value to you and your conversations with your customers.